Welcome back to IMS Indianapolis Motor Speedway for weekend number 4 of Ferrari Challenge North America. As you can see, weather conditions here are a little bit different than they were yesterday. It's overcast. That's the skyline just about in the distance. Looks very green, doesn't it, in these conditions? Definitely not as hot as it was yesterday. There's a light breeze. It's still warm. It is still warm. It's not going to extend tyre life by absolutely miles, but it is a different track than it was yesterday. We had a little bit of rain overnight, but it's pretty dry out on track. I suppose similar damp patches to how it was. But we're looking forward to getting things underway for qualifying for round 8 of Ferrari Challenge North America. Let's take a look at where we've been so far this year. We started, of course, in California at Sonoma Raceway. Wonderful rolling hills, and then down onto the drag strip for the final section of the track with the hairpin, where we saw some great passing. Daytona International Speedway, what an incredible venue. Miami Autodrome, first ever series to race at the Miami F1 track, other than, of course, F1 itself, which is currently racing in Austria right now as we speak. I hope you're watching us and not them. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is where we are this weekend for weekend number 4, which is races 7 and 8. Then Watkins Glen International in just 4 short weeks' time, and Laguna Seca in September, followed by the Finale Mondiale at Mugello in October. It's Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the racing capital of the world, as they like to call it. It is, of course, extraordinarily famous for the wonderful Indy 500. The brilliant museum here tells the story of that incredible race and its history since 1911. The track built in 1909, a 2.5-mile oval, which they added the infield to, and that's what we're using here. So 14 corners. We saw brilliant action yesterday, overtaken at turn 1, turn 7, turns 12 and 13, even on the exit of 14. It was definitely our best day's racing yesterday. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys will enjoy it watching today. Air temperature 26 Celsius, track 35, 81% humidity. It is pretty muggy here. There are potential storms later on this afternoon. So much so the organisers are looking at schedules and so on in case we get the dreaded lightning and have to slow things down a bit. People have taped up their window vents. It's really not that cold, I can assure you. Tony Villander is alongside me. My name's Andrew Coley. Tony, good to have you here again. Slightly different conditions from yesterday. I don't know, really. The sun's not out.
Yeah, I think if the rain keeps out, the track itself is in a good shape. Probably this weather will provide even faster lap times. We do have some weather in the area, so hopefully it holds. Hopefully we get clean qualifying sessions and the race. Yesterday was very interesting. After the last race, after the checkered flag, half of the track was full of wet, full of rain.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it?
It was really impressive to see. Great racing yesterday, like you mentioned. Best action probably in Pirelli AM, all the way to the checkered flag. We had no safety cars, we had no red flags. So hopefully we keep the same momentum, same rhythm for today. There's some updates also on the rules, so yes, maybe that has
the drivers
forced a little bit the drivers to keep it clean with the other competitors. So that seemed to be working yesterday.
Well, we'll talk a bit about that once we get the qualifying session underway, because they were given a bit of a they were told off at the drivers' briefing. So we'll give you an update. There's Steve Check, who's back in the car this weekend. We've got a third member of our team, of course, down in pit lane, Amanda Busick.
Good morning, gentlemen, and while I can't ever properly kiss these bricks, I do love standing on them and giving them their proper hello to the day. We are race number 2 in IMS, but first we start with qualifying. I have to admit, I was one of those Ferrari fans in Casa Ferrari this morning watching the start of that F1 race, as along were the drivers, but now we're ready to go qualifying. I do want to do a little recap for yesterday. I see our Coppa Shell AM class cars are going out on track right now, so I'll be pretty quick on this. If you go into that class specifically, it was Gabe Reeb on the pole for that, but it was Louis Flory that got that win. There have been 7 different winners alone in that class yesterday. I think you might have heard me say his alter ego, Andrew. I expect you to pick up on that. But as we have fun in this class, the only pole sitter that would go on and win the race yesterday was Massimo Perina. He had that dominant lead, but you guys take it away with qualifying. We'll jump into stories here shortly.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, it's Lewis Flory, as we discovered yesterday. We were wondering, we'd had some messages via the grapevine. That's not how you say his name. I said, I don't understand. It's spelt Louis. What am I supposed to do? And I found him in hospitality, and he said, you know what, the hardest thing is that I took a win as Louis Flory, he said, and now I'm worried that I won't win as Lewis Flory. But yesterday he did win as Lewis Flory. It was a great drive by him. And as Tony and Amanda have both said already, and myself, yesterday was a brilliant, clean day of racing. Tony, let's get back into the driver's briefing. They just said to them, look, guys, we've had some great racing this year. You've got to tidy it up.
Yeah, especially attention at the race starts, going into turn one. If you create a situation where race director feels that you are the blame, you are the one that caused this, there's some penalties for the coming races. And also, if you create red flags and other situations and issues on track, you will be penalized. So I think the good thing is you set these marks very clear so the drivers know how to behave. And I think one of the goals is to have most of the drivers leaving the track on Sunday and being happy on what they did. Obviously hard racing, and sometimes there are situations that need to be solved, but we just want to have clean racing and respect between the drivers. And I would say most of the occasions we succeed in this thing, but it's good to have also clear beige that the drivers know what the stewards and the race director is expecting.
Absolutely, yeah. So engineering in motorsport has always been open to interpretation. Is it what's the rule? Can I break it somehow? And then you make some incredible piece for your Formula One car, your GT car. And likewise, race directors have to be really specific about what they expect. I think that's true. I think we saw bigger gaps yesterday between the two classes at the start, which I think is a good thing. So you have two very separate starts for the classes with a big gap in between them. And yeah, it was all really sensible stuff. So we had a great day, and we're hoping for another great day today. That is Steve Check, I think. It is Steve Check with the gold-coloured car over the curbs. They were using a lot of curb yesterday out there, Tony. I wonder if they've been updated on how much they can use today. Some people were launching fully over the inside of it.
Yeah, also a fine line in those SS. If you take too much curbing, you may even damage the race car. All four wheels off the track and then landing quite hard. Yeah, also quite tricky part is when you're following the other car very closely and you need to almost predict where those curbs are. You don't have a visual reference point, as you can only see the rear of the car ahead of you. So sometimes drivers end up doing some mistakes, also based on the fact that there is a lot of traffic, a lot of cars around them.
Gabe Pribb, you're looking at the moment, he was the pole man yesterday in Coppa Shell AM, which is the first of our qualifying sessions. Each of the four classes qualifies on their own, and then they race as two pairs. So you have Coppa Shell and Coppa Shell AM, and we have Trofeo Pirelli AM. But they all have their own qualifying session, which is a good thing, because the pace it can be different. It's not so much with Pirelli. Pirelli is, if you want to, they're like rungs on a ladder. You got Pirelli, then Pirelli AM, Shell, then Shell AM. And the difference between the top of Pirelli and the bottom of Pirelli AM is not so much, but between the top of Coppa Shell and the bottom of Coppa Shell AM, it's a bigger gap because they're still learning. Yeah,
and I also mentioned it already a few times that I love this format where you are qualifying and racing mainly with the drivers of your category and your speed. And qualifying, for me, what it demonstrates is after the practice, you fine-tune your race car and you set yourself mentally to showcase the true performance you have. Oh, we have a little bit of traffic, little bit of misunderstanding where to overtake two cars. But yeah, qualifying, it's just beautiful if a driver can really demonstrate what he can do and do the maximum performance, and it's not in a way that somebody's blocking you or harming your flying lap. So that's for me what presents qualifying is pure speed, and everybody should have, at least on paper, the best chance to do it.
Yeah, you need good awareness of what's going on around you. You're looking at Lance Corley, who is currently sitting in P3. Fast lap at the minute is a 1:26.7. which is Gabe Pribb again. The next nearest is 1:28. Actually, Lance Corley's just gone quickest, so Corley goes quickest, 0.2 of a second, exactly to the 1,000th faster than Gabe Pribb. They have 12 minutes to get their quick lap in. Yesterday we did see in a couple of the categories we saw a good lap on lap 5, but the Pirelli guys, it was over by lap 3, lap 4.
Yeah, sometimes drivers are a little bit out of sequence, meaning that others enter straight away when there's a green flag. start the session, go out there on track, and other drivers wait few minutes. So sometimes we get those good lap times towards the end of the session, but then in the end, when you watch the timing and scoring, probably the fastest lap is more or less the same number, 4th, 5th lap maybe, with these drivers, and like you mentioned, with the Pirelli drivers few laps earlier.
Lap 2, lap 3, and of course the risk of going out late is if you get a red flag.
That is always the case. If you have yellow flag or red flag, and then you have less time to do your flying lap. So timing in qualifying is very important.
Lewis Flory, who you're looking at, who's currently P7, only qualified 9th yesterday and won the race. Great performance, coming up a long way through the grid.
Yeah, we had few drivers yesterday that were really able to show different performance compared to their qualifying, and struggling on a pure pace in qualifying, but in traffic with the other drivers, some decisive moves, and also like in Pirelli AM, some of the drivers going into last lap, P4, P5, and then suddenly on the podium chase or even winning the race.
I like Lewis's wheels.
Yeah, I love the colors.
Yeah, you know,
in general way that how much effort in Ferrari Challenge all the drivers and teams put their graphics, the liveries in general, so it's beautiful.
Motorsport, the history of liveries in motorsport is so important, isn't it? You know, when I was in the museum yesterday, and you see the famous liveries, and you just immediately recognise, yeah, it's a Penske, or there was the DuPont NASCAR was in there. I was like, sick. I was just taking photos of all those famous liveries. A good livery on a car, I don't know, it just pops, doesn't it? There's something about it. I totally understand why they take so much pride in wanting their cars to look cool.
Yeah, that's true. Like the livery and the colors combined with the sponsors of that era, so you straight away it pops up the memories of how the racing was at that time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The other thing about a good livery, of course, is it allows your rivals to look in the mirror and go, oh, damn it, it's him. You know, and you can strike fear into people by the fact they recognise your car very quickly, and you will quickly start to recognise those of your rivals. Melissa Kozira is in P2. That's a fantastic performance. She had a bad start to the race yesterday, broke the car, unfortunately. She qualified 4th and was looking for a podium, because it was her other half's birthday, and that didn't happen. But today, maybe it will, and in P2, that's fantastic. 126.4. She's actually only 14 hundredths of a second off Steve, and Steve Check's just gone quickest, sorry. So now she's dropped down to P3, and look at that, there's only 14 hundredths between P1 and P2, and the same again between P2 and P3, so less than 0.3 of a second across the entire of the top 4. In fact, it's half a second off the entire of the top 9. Fabian Sperman, who is currently in 12th. It was Sperman who won the first race in Daytona, pole and F1, as in finished first on my notes. And he's just gone quickest. Sperman goes quickest, so he's crossed the line 126.0. And now Vartugian has come across with 0.007 behind. This is what we're saying about these guys. We sometimes see the lap later in the session, Tony, as they really get themselves dialed into the feeling of the car.
Yeah, there's still some difference regarding the pace compared to yesterday's qualifying. In my notes, at least, the pole yesterday was 125.3, so there is still some margin, and probably we see some improvements. Let's see now.
Yeah, over the line. Prib goes quickest, so he goes ahead, and it's a 125.9. Melissa Kozira's now done a 125.9, so she goes back into P2. So Melissa's going really well. Here she is at the end of the straight. Nicely done. Kozira's best qualifying this year was a Q4 yesterday and again in Miami. She had a 5th and a 7th in Daytona. But Gabe Hrib is at the top of the list now from Kozira, and then Sperman in P3, 125.9. What did you say yesterday's time was? 125.3?
Yes,
so
125.382.
So there's another 0.6 out there based on yesterday. Of course, we don't know if the track conditions are exactly the same, but close enough. Sperman goes back to the top again, so this is going back and forth big time. He's done a 125.8. 1 minute 41 left, so if you're crossing the line right now or in the next 10 seconds, these guys might get another 2 laps in. Michael Owens in the 103, Gabe Hrib in the 102. I hadn't noticed how identical the front of those cars are, but okay, it's just the bumper. It's enough to confuse me. I'm a simple guy. I like cars, but, you know, I get confused when they look the same. Okay, who's going top now? Sperman top of Hrib. Let's say that 125.8 still stands. Kozira in the background.
And the problem for Rip now is he's running into traffic, and he's on the last lap, and that might cause some issues.
Steve Cech crosses the line, remains in P6. That was 126.4, so he did actually 126.5 here. It was a 10th star on the last lap. Sorry, 126.4 is his best. And with the clock counting down now, 30 seconds to go. Tom Petramalo. Yesterday qualified in 7th place. We're still seeing the screen light up with best laps. So we're still seeing best laps from a number of drivers on this last few seconds of the session. The 5 drivers have done their best lap on this last lap. Fabian Sperman's just crossed the line with a 139.1, so he's rolled off. That was very much an in-lap, 14 seconds slower than his quickest.
And very tight field, 11 drivers inside 7/10.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it, for the Shell AM drivers? Brilliant, really good consistency from them. There is the back straight up to turn 7, the bumpy braking zone up there gave us some brilliant action yesterday. Saw some drivers going very quickly early in the race, and then the tyres were cooked, and that was when the mistakes started coming, and actually that was when it got really good fun for us up here in the announcing booth. There was a lot going on that last lap. Checker flag coming out. Vartugin does the quickest lap on his last lap, as does Cech, Corley, Lewis Flory, Gomez. They've all done their quickest lap on this last lap. Checker is out for most of them. But at the minute it is Fabian Sperman at the top, 125.8. Gabe Hrib's taken the checker, and I think that'll be game over. But let's wait for these last couple of cars to come over the line. The clock has reached 0. Checker flag is out on the gantry right opposite us. You might even find some of these drivers just pull off into pit lane as they come in. Sperman takes the checker with a 126.7. Anybody slotted in high? Vartugin goes in 4th, 126.0. Goodwin also in 5th with a 126.0. So a few movements there right on the last lap, and that was actually Vartugin only did 5 laps. Most of the others did 7 or 8. So it is Fabian Sperman who takes the pole in Coppa Shell AM with a 125.858. That is around half a second slower than yesterday's quickest time, so we'll be able to see you during the course of this session. If that's indicative of the pace in the other categories as well, then we'll have a better idea of whether it's track conditions.
Yeah, a bit surprised. Cooler temperature normally provides faster lap times, better for the engines and also for the tires. But there was a few tenths gap compared to yesterday. And let's see with the next category. I could see that they're already ready for their second qualifying of the weekend. And also regarding this format, it's very nice. It's when it's action, things happen continuously, so it's very nice to follow.
Yeah, and they've all been well behaved as well. So we had a couple of sessions during qualifying where we've had full course yellows and things. And the trouble is, a full course yellow in a 12-minute session costs instantly half the session. And when you look at the drivers in that last session who were doing their best laps on laps 6, 7 and 8, if you lose half the session, you're not going to get those in. What was the race distance yesterday? It was we're up at 20 laps, I think. 22, 22 laps in Trofeo Pirelli. So it was, the race distance is long, and the drivers were all saying that after about half distance, they were finding their tyres were cooked, and that was what gave us so much action at the end of the day. Now lining up already down at the front of the pit lane to get out for Coppa Shell. The famous pylon in the background in Ferrari red. There's still a few cars rolling back into the paddock. I think that'll be the last couple coming in. We take a look at the results of qualifying for Coppa Shell AM. Pole for Fabian Sperman, 125.858. On a quick look, he had a pole, of course, back in Daytona, which he went on to win, so can he do the same again? Gabe Reed, Melissa Kozira, P3. That's Melissa's best qualifying this season. Ed Fartugian in 4th. Dana Goodwin is in 5th. Michael Owens, Lance Corley, Steve Check. Good to see Steve back on pace after yesterday's qualifying. He was towards the back, maybe some problems with the car, because, of course, he'd had either a rebuild or a new chassis after the incident in Miami. Lewis Flory down in P9. He won from there yesterday, so don't count him out. And the rest of the field as well. This is Fabian Sperman climbing out of the number 184. Hug from the team and applause as well. Yes, look how pleased he is. Brilliant. I love when a driver is enjoying it. You know, it's so easy to take everything so seriously that you... And of course we see that in the higher categories. They're not so excited. They know the big job is later today. But I love to see the joy when someone's done their best.
And also the spirit inside the team. Sometimes they have drivers in different categories. So when any of the drivers have done their qualifying, they stay on the pit lane to follow the other drivers of the same team. And they have this team feeling, team spirit of cheering to the other drivers as well. So that's one thing that happens often in Ferrari Challenge.
We saw that yesterday with Massimo Perino, who'd taken the pole in the Trofeo Pirelli and was down there with one of his teammates. Oh man, so close. His teammate was P2, I forget who it was, but yeah, it was cool. Amanda Busick is with Fabian Sperman now. Okay, we'll get back down to Amanda in just a short moment. A hot minute, as we like to say over here in the US of A. That is... sorry, just waiting to see the shot again. Yesterday's winner. Everybody jostling for position already out there, aren't they? Ah, okay. And Mitchell Green. So Mitchell Green was potentially going to skip qualifying today to drop his kids off to camp, which would have been cool, and we're sorry he can't do that because obviously family comes first. But he had a terrible day yesterday. Jan Bernier, who you're looking at here, his championship rival, who I said already took the win yesterday, had a brilliant day. Now, there's only 15 points in between them, so it's not actually as bad as it looked on paper. But Mitchell really needs to respond today and throw down to try and get the pressure back on Bernier.
Yeah, the way the championship points are done, you just need to be consistent, and Mitchell Green's drive-through penalty yesterday was really costly, but at the same time the gaps are still relatively small, so every point, every place, every good race may narrow this gap. And yeah, Mitchell Green had a moment going into turn 13, spun and then rejoined in a very, let's say, optimistic way, causing some issues for the other drivers, and stewards quite quickly and the race director then handed him the drive-through penalty, which in a 30-minute race is a big penalty.
Yeah, it is a big penalty. Long pit road here as well with the entry lane into it. So yeah, for Mitchell it was costly yesterday. So he's stuck around for qualifying today. Don't forget as well, bonus point for pole, bonus point for fastest lap, and now I think Mitchell will be looking to get all of those things. You know, it's a 15-point gap. Obviously you want to beat your rival, but if you can also steal 2 points off them on Saturday, 2 points off them on Sunday, we've still got a bunch of rounds to go. This is by no means over.
And we've seen already a few qualifyings this season where it looked like the Mitchell Green is grabbing that pole, taking that P1 starting place for the race, and then pitting very early, and then other drivers improving towards the end of the session. So I think today he really needs to make sure that he has a good qualifying and takes everything out of the tires. It's the right choice to save them for the race, but from this stage on he needs every point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tricky balance, isn't it, when you say, as you say, let's save the tyres for the race, but then if you're on row 2 instead of row 1, what's the bigger advantage? Yesterday, I think up to halfway, people were we saw some people with incredible grip and some wonderful attacking drives, and then about halfway through the race, your tyres are gone. At that point, you need to wind it back. So it's such a balancing act for the drivers between, do I use the tyres now and go a row further up? What do you do?
Yeah, I would go for an extra lap in qualifying, and then if you have the feeling that there is still tire life left, there's still performance in the car, and then potentially ended up P1 in the category and having a clean race, racing into a clean air, and then you save way more tires than having one lap less in qualifying and battling the 30 minutes in traffic. So
yeah, sure. And of course, we saw people cook the fronts yesterday where they were stuck behind other cars.
exactly.
Bernier has to run off to the side of the road here, making a pass as he heads round. He's 127.5 at the moment, whilst these guys get themselves warmed up. Here comes Mitchell Green through the chicane. It's attack laps now. We've got our poleman Fabian Sperman this time with the man abuse down in pit road.
And it was a big celebration out of the collection for Fabian Sperman as he takes pole here in Coppa Shell AM. And you said that lap was all about concentration. How did you give it all you had, Fabian?
Yeah, it's about concentration. This is it's a sport that you have to be in a mood and concentrated. Yesterday I was not. Today I was in, and I was able to do my lap. I was able to do my lap.
Well, last time you were on the pole, you went and won the race. How crucial might that be today, considering the impending weather that might happen?
It can be key to be at the pole, but this is a very competitive class. And who knows, but it's important to be in the ball, and if it rains, it's even more important.
Congratulations to Fabian. Concentration, rain keeping, guys.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Fabian. Tony, what are you seeing out on track? Are you looking for rain? It's kind of getting more, it's getting a bit darker, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting a bit darker here on the main straight, and in my opinion, no rain at the moment, but yesterday morning, even the clouds that were less darker than right now, there was actual rain, so I think the risk of rain is increasing.
Mitchell Green, P1 at the moment, 125.027. What was the pole yesterday? You got a note of that, Tony? No, we'll have a look in a moment and find the results from how quick they were. Jan Bernier is 0.4 of a second back. Gary Ott, you know, these are the names that were involved yesterday. Gary Ott with a brilliant drive. He got pole yesterday, dropped to P4, and then just punched his way back through. And when I say punched, I don't mean running into other cars. He just really aggressively drove the car. It was a great demonstration of car control. He was sliding on the brakes, sliding on the gas. Yeah, maybe not looking after your tyres the best way, but we loved watching it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He lost a few places at the start, and then the mindset is just moving forward, and you don't really come up with the ideas. Now it's time to save tires, and he was one of the most aggressive tires with the curbs, riding them almost all around the track and leaving marks to the racetrack, driving sideways, and now here we see Gary Ott in action.
124.358 was the time. Yesterday we were on a 124.479. Bernier's gone top. Mitchell Green moves back up into P2, but 0.3 off. Ott goes back up a place, knocks Whittle back down. Orsini is in third. So again, everybody moving around, and I would expect these guys to get this done in the next few laps in terms of time. But again, with Coppa Shell, we might see somebody do something late in the session. Everybody out there did a best lap on the last lap. So they're all on lap 3 or 4 as well, so that's not guaranteed. You know, you'd expect their best lap to happen on lap 2 because lap 1 is an out lap, but they've all gone quicker again on 3 and 4. I'll tell you what, if there is any rain in the air as well, if any of the teams have got rain on the radar, they'll be telling them, don't hang about, you can't be doing this on lap 6, you need to get it done now, because if it rains, boom, it's gone instantly.
That's a good point. When the weather is like this, as soon as the session starts, you need to go out there and just to make sure that you are able to post a lap time if potential rain is coming.
Yeah, yesterday it looked like someone had taken a giant spray can and painted across the straight here. And from that down to the far end of the oval was soaking wet, to the point where you could see the headlights reflecting off the road. It was soaking wet. And up here we did the podium in bone dry conditions. It was I've never seen a TV shot like it, highlighting it so perfectly. It was a straight line across the track. In the braking zone for turn 1 as well. Probably a good job it didn't happen during the race, to be fair, on very well used slicks at that point. 4 minutes remaining roughly. It is Bernier from Orsini and Green. Mitchell Green, I'm sure, would like to just go those 0.05 of a second quicker to get back ahead of Orsini. Is that Gary Ott? It is. So Gary Ott, yesterday's hard charger, unfortunately with a bit of traffic and with 0.06, yeah, he's backed out. So he's backed out of that to give himself a bit of space. He caught Jarrett Bilacek, who's running this awesome livery this weekend. I think it's a new livery, but I'm terrible. I can't remember anything. So it might not be. Either way, we like it, Jarrett. Nice one. So look how far back Ott has dropped. He knows he's probably got one more shot. And Tony, you were saying yesterday, if you see on your dash that you're not getting the lap time, you might as well save the tyres.
Yeah, that is true, but also backing off in qualifying, it may work out. You cool the tires and then you're back into the rhythm, and sometimes you are never able to gain that grip level back. So it goes by the experience, and it's track related as well.
So interestingly, Mitchell Green, 124.8, is just on a 134, so he's rolled off. So he's either going back in the pits or a cool down lap and then go again. But you're saying that's not always guaranteed.
Yeah, it depends. If you really cool down, if you need to go outside the racing line, you collect some pickup rubber or some other stuff on your tires. It may take another few laps to clean them up, so it's not always the best scenario. Often a temperature related thing, that if you're overheating the tires, then a cool down lap may work.
Well, let's see whether or not Mitchell Green's gone into P2, so he must have gone straight on a push lap immediately afterwards. Okay, so the cool down lap ended at the start of the straight. I thought he was cruising down the straight on that lap as well. Mitchell Green has gone up into P2, so the cool down lap on this occasion did work for him. Here he is. He's got 3/10 to find, but at the minute, it looks to me, Tony, like he's on another push lap here.
Yeah, definitely at full speed.
Oh.
Whoa, cutting those curbs at the S's, using the track inside and also the outside curb. Very aggressive under braking into 7. Using the curb inside again. Helped the rotation a bit. Lost the curb a little bit. Should have been a little bit more inside. The one in the middle worked out nicely, and look how tight line he's using coming out of turn 10.
Behind him, we've got Gary Ott, who's on an absolute flyer as well. 5th gear up to the top. Mitchell Green we're on board with now. I didn't realise we had an on board with him. Fantastic. Right, come on, Mitchell, let's go. This is the left-hander roll off and back in.
Yeah, here is tricky because you put the weight on the front tires while you're braking, turning in. The rear is very light, so you need to be patient, and then full throttle, a good line through 14 and then to the main straight.
Has he done enough? Mitchell Green crosses the line. No, he takes a few hundredths off. Gary Ott crosses the line now, yesterday's pole sitter. Not quicker either from the looks of things. Mitchell Green's best lap, that was a 124.7. Him and Jan Bernier have both done 7 laps. Orsini is still in 3rd. Gary Ott still 4th. Ott's last lap 24.9. Oh, he's within 5 hundredths of his previous lap times, Gary Ott.
Sometimes what is difficult also for drivers, their mindset is based on the lap time they did yesterday. And if track for some reason is not providing the same grip or the performance, you may overdrive because you want to hit those same marks, same split times, same
yesterday.
predicted on your dash. And then you go like, I don't have the speed, I don't have the speed. You're trying harder and you actually lose more lap time.
Make mistakes, start to spin the rear or get a bit of push. Yeah, it doesn't work. You got to drive, not within yourself, right on the limit, but not over it. You're seeing Mitchell Green coming through, Gary Ott as well in the background. This might be a last-ditch, it will be a last-ditch attempt because there's only 15 seconds. You'll know whether or not they think they're on a good one, because if they don't think they're on a good one, they'll turn off and into the pits here. I think Mitchell's rolled out of this. Gary Ott's still on a push lap. Mitchell Green gets out of the way. Is he going to go for one more lap or no? Green's gone in and Gary Ott has not. So Ott continues around the right-hander here. Yesterday's pole man on his last lap because the checker flag is out opposite us. Has Gary Ott done enough on his final attempt around here? He was a 1/10 of a second off before. And no, the checker flag falls and Ott remains in P4. So we know Mitchell Green is in, so he's on the front row unless someone could deny him on this very last lap. Down over the finish line now. There is the yard of bricks. Naranjo stays in P10. This is the 127 of Lisa Clark. So Lisa trying to get up from P11. All the way out against the wall. It's in a few different lines today. You want to use the least amount of steering lock you can through that corner to get the most pace on the exit. She remains P11. So I think that's pretty much all our usual suspects in. We still had people who've done their best laps look on lap 8 we were seeing in this session. I don't think you'll see that in quite the same way. Whittle is still a danger. So Whittle is still quick if he's pushing. Is he going to go pits or is he going to continue round? I think he's going pits. Yeah, he is. He was offline. So Whittle has bailed, and for me, that's the last of our threat drivers, I think, in Ott taking the checker. And various different people into the pits as well. The 121 is Carroll. He's already had the checker, so he goes in. So Jan Bernier takes the pole. great job for Jan after having qualified second yesterday, but winning the race, of course. That is his third pole position of the year. Both the other times that he's been on pole, he's converted it to the win. Can he do the double here in Indianapolis? Amanda Busick can ask him.
Well, Jan, we were talking yesterday in your winner's interview of just how much of an inflection point yesterday's race could have been for a championship season. How great is it being Jan Bernier right now?
Well, today feels really good. I mean, you know, Lady Luck has to be on our side, and we have to have clean, consistent races the rest of the year. It's definitely not over. I think my competitors are right behind me, but that felt like a pretty good lap. I had no communication really, so I didn't know where I was. Or they weren't going to tell me. They couldn't hear me, so it was pretty interesting. I'm like, okay, tires are done now. Bring it in. Let's save them for the race.
Congratulations to Jan Bernier. Tony, how hard is that when you don't have communication with your team?
Yeah, sometimes if the communication is not there, then it creates confusion and you lose the concentration. In my days when I was racing, I was quite hot-headed inside the car.
Really?
So maybe that would have ended up in creating more situations, more hassle. It's tricky when you are in an endurance race and you are based on the fuel consumption, how much fuel, how many laps you have left. If the communication is not there, then it's a bit more tricky. In a straightforward qualifying session, a bit less. You know, there you are out there to set up a lap time. Checker flag takes you back into the pit lane. And it's better to have the communication issues now than in the race.
Yeah, true. We'll ask Tony in a minute why he was hot-headed and what they used to say to him on the radio. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the results for Coppa Shell qualifying here for round 8, weekend number 4 of Ferrari Challenge North America. Jan Bernier takes the pole position. Yesterday he qualified second and he won. Mitchell Green is P2, his championship rival, who didn't have a good day yesterday, but that's a great start to today for Mitchell Green. Yesterday, of course, he qualified third, so he's on the front row, and that's a big advantage into turn 1. Orsini, Ott, yesterday's poleman fourth, and so on down. Then Walterstorff, Naranjo, Clark, Lully, and Evans. Brad Evans, no time. Let's see if he starts later. So, Tony, I'm keen to know when you say you were hot-headed in the car, what did you need the team to come on the radio and go, Tony, calm down? Like, what was happening? You're a Finn, you know. As far to us, you're always so calm, but obviously not really.
Yeah, there was sometimes like I was racing for Reezy, who is here also, and with Rick Meyer being the engineer, I would ask, give me some information. And when Rick started giving the information, I would go, why are you talking? Leave me alone.
So I like Kimmy. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
So some mixed messages with the team. Sometimes also with the fact that you drive many hours, get exhausted, adrenaline is running high, so you need somebody to either give you support or share the emotions you have inside the car. So nothing really personal, but sometimes the temperature was running a bit high, I must admit.
Thanks,
20 years later.
It only took 20 years. He's a great bloke, he really is. Yeah, he's fantastic. Okay, we have heard that the race schedule has been changed a little bit later on, so if you are looking to join us on YouTube, I think we're racing something like an hour ahead of when we were. I'll get final confirmation of when we're on air for you before we finish this session. I've just seen how cool, look at that, the green flag on the totem pole in the pits. Oh, it's gone now, unfortunately. We'll try and get it at the start of the next session. It's like a really cool green flag graphic. I'm so easily entertained. I'm loving being at all these new classic racetracks. So I've been so lucky to have been involved in motorsport for such a long time. And I've been working in the USA since 2018 on various series, mostly on the rallycross side, meaning that we've been to lots of tracks which don't feature circuit racing. You know, some of our tracks we've been to Mid-Ohio, we've been to Worldwide Technology Raceway up at St. Louis, lots of places like that, COTA. But for me this year, to visit iconic tracks like Daytona and Indianapolis, and I totally get why Ferrari chooses the tracks they choose. You know, if I was a guy who was doing this for my hobby and going racing, what a great selection of tracks to visit. You know, how cool to tell your mates, your colleagues, your business associates, yeah, I was racing in Indianapolis at the weekend. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, Ferrari is like we have the events on track. Like you said, we choose the best tracks in North America. Where there is history, where there is tradition for racing, and also where there is conditions to organize events outside the racing. Last night there was a great gala dinner again, all drivers and teams together, and that's part of Ferrari. So we need the beautiful racetrack, but we need the surroundings as well. And yeah, it's these events are something special. It's great to follow them on the streaming, but these events are great to visit as well. Some events we add some more flavor. There is FXX program, there is the old F1 cars, there's club competizione GT like this weekend as well. So you see the history of Ferrari, you see the cars that are racing around the world nowadays. So great events to join.
And the 499p Modificata.
Yeah, that's impressive as well. So
yeah.
there's a
So good to see those last time. We had a full racing. Didn't you do racing days last week in Japan? Same event, but in Japan?
Yes, I did. So the 499p is a straight link to WEC, so World Endurance Hypercar that Ferrari is using. The car that has now won Le Mans 24 Hours 3 years in a row.
Amazing.
So that's amazing. So our clients can really enjoy and feel what it means like to drive those special cars.
F1 cars last week in Fuji or no?
There were few. Japan is very strong for Ferrari racing weekends as well. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of cars in Japan. And what is impressive is if it rains, they drive. If it's sunshine, they drive.
Yeah,
and from the first session in the morning to the last session at 8 p.m. They drive.
Yeah. Fuji, I've been lucky enough to go to Fuji twice. It's such a wonderful track, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice.
Lot of elevation change, and the fact it's got just an iconic, beautiful mountain in the background is pretty impressive too. Right, Ray Acosta went quickest, Logan's just gone ahead, Falvera just gone behind, but we're expecting these lap times to come down significantly there. They've only just gone on to lap 2, and so now you should see the timing screen light up as people get amongst it. Acosta we saw this morning at breakfast, didn't we?
Yeah, he told yesterday that he will put on a show. He had a lot of pace for the first 15 to 20 minutes in the race.
Brilliant.
Then he had some issues. He said he was losing power a little bit.
Yes.
And he struggled coming out of few corners. Car and the driver were really strong under heavy braking areas. And he said, I should have probably been a bit more aggressive, like we said in broadcast, that he should have probably made those moves earlier on. This driver here, Esteban Beckman, was on pole yesterday and he had 2 spins in the race. He's learning. He's coming from Corso Pilota. Only 6 months ago, he was still in Corso Pilota, learning the basics of racing. Yesterday, he was able to put it on pole. And then a learning curve continues. Now the next steps are the race starts, opening lap, overtaking, how to manage the speed in the race.
If you think about the qualifying, that's what he's learned, isn't it, in Corso Pilota? Is laps on your own, club challenge, laps on your own,
And then you build up the pressure. You
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
are your worst enemy, meaning that when you don't have the knowledge what to expect, he was probably just trying a bit too much.
Tires were a bit too cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything wasn't quite ready. But I mean, absolutely, take nothing away. Amazing job to get the pole yesterday. Brad Falvera won 24.5.
Yeah, yesterday 24.0.
Okay, so now we know from the previous session of Coppa Shell that they got within a tenth of yesterday's time. So we think the lap time is still there, don't we? And the Coppa Shell AM guys maybe didn't capitalise, although they were incredibly close across their field.
Or if there was something earlier this morning, there was something with the racetrack now with the already couple of qualifying sessions, always fresh tires, so the track is getting back to a good shape.
Yeah, fantastic. Falvera at the top at the moment. Brilliant run yesterday from him. Like they were, the racing in this category yesterday was absolutely fantastic. We are looking at Martin Burrows. Burrows we're back in the series after, I think he raced with us in Sonoma at the start of the year and then hasn't made an appearance since. So good to see Martin back. Yes, he did. He had a 7th and a 9th in Sonoma, having qualified 13th and 11th. Yesterday he qualified 5th, so Burrows definitely much stronger here in Indianapolis. Cagnazzi over the line. Everybody going quickest on this last lap again. So the time's really starting to tumble. Acosta to the top, Falvera, Cagnazzi. Logan to the top now. Okay, Sebastian Mascaro, had a great chat with him this morning. We were like, wow, how did you get from P6 to P2 in the last lap? He showed me his onboard. Of course, all the carnage unfolded in front of him. Burrows had an issue yesterday. Do you remember how quickly he got swamped on the run into turn 12? Someone ran the outside of him. Sebastian spoke to him afterwards. So Burrows had an issue with the car, which then meant that he was able to get him on the exit of turn 14 after the contact between Acosta and Levy. So all but unknown to us, Mascaro had a problem during qualifying, so he had some issue on the banking where he was losing power, and so he didn't qualify well, and then he couldn't get his pit limiter off at the start, so he flicked the car off and on. He actually started at the back of the field and ended up in P2, so it was an even better recovery story than we thought it was.
Yeah, it was an interesting race to follow. It seemed like early on some drivers had a lot of pace, and then suddenly they lost it, they lost performance, and we had at the times 5 to 8 cars following each other. And there was Pirelli AM and Pirelli drivers all together mixed up in the action, so it was great to follow, and even you got a bit excited.
I did.
Towards the end of the race.
It's so hard to get me excited about motor racing, isn't it? I hardly ever get excited, as I think you said at the last weekend. Yeah, I got very excited. There is nothing better than having to stretch your legs a bit when you're announcing, and yesterday I had to run. It was a brilliant end to the race. I really hope we see some of the same again today. It would be fantastic. This man Acosta, he was exceptional yesterday. You say the first 15 minutes, and he was still brilliant after the tyres had gone off. When the tyres are good, Tony, the window is quite big, isn't it? And by that I mean if you make a little mistake, the tyres will forgive you a bit. And when they go off, it's like a knife edge.
Yeah, when the tires came off, when the tires are losing grip, that's where we saw a few mistakes yesterday in different classes. So you just don't have the lateral support, you don't have the lateral grip anymore, and if you go into the corners with the same input like you do in qualifying, then suddenly you lose the rear of the car and you end up spinning off the track. So this is what happens, but it's also a little bit of combination, the physical fatigue, the heat inside the car, concentration. If you are under pressure for the whole 30 minutes, there's a high chance that you either miss one corner or you end up doing a mistake.
Concentration as well in the heat, and fitness comes into it. You know, it always makes me laugh. People used to ask, why I was training to drive a car. So I don't think you know what it's like driving a car. I always say, imagine wearing ski thermals and then a duffel coat over the top, then cover up every single part of your skin except for your eyes and your nose with thermals, and put a helmet on. Then sit in a race car with the, and you might as well. And if you want to try this in your car at home, put the heating on full, and then go and drive somewhere. Don't obviously. You need to go and do some physical exercise. It's so hot in the car, and if you're not fit, it kills you.
This is a good point. You can even fool your own team a bit, saying like there's an issue with the car and stuff like that. But the driver cannot fool himself. He feels that I'm out of shape. I cannot keep the rhythm for 30 minutes. And then what do you need to do? Take your bicycle, renew your gym card, the membership, and then it's back to the basics.
Go to the fruit table in Casa Ferrari.
Yes. Instead of the desserts.
Yeah, I did go to the dessert table. You're right, Tony.
But you cannot fool yourself.
No, you have to put the effort in and it makes a big difference. I remember my last proper rally campaign was back in 2008, and I remember at the start of the season I was like, I'm going back in the swimming pool. I used to swim. And by the end of the season, the difference was unbelievable. You know, in the afternoons, I used to feel fatigued leaving the service area. And you're okay in the stages because you're full of adrenaline, but you're not as sharp as you are if you're fit. And you'll see drivers do it. We know a number of drivers here who are, I'm training, I'm losing some weight. And it's not just about weight in the race car. As you say, it's fitness, it's sharpness, and being able to push, especially when the weather is hot. Beckman up to P3, yesterday's pole. That's a great result. He was 9/10 down not so long ago. Just done his fastest lap on that last lap, which is lap 6. And Amanda Busick, you've got a bit more info for us on Beckman.
Yeah, I want to go back to yesterday. You talked about the race, but one of the great storylines yesterday was this guy right here putting that 8 Ferrari on pole. I did follow up with the team yesterday. Esteban not able to finish the race. He's actually been battling flu for about a week, came into this Ferrari Challenge weekend, was not able to even practice on Wednesday. So quite incredible what he was able to pull off yesterday. But I have confirmed with MG1 Motorsports that Esteban is feeling up for the battle today as he puts that Ferrari in P3 with his best lap so far.
Thank you, Amanda. Let's see if he's got any more best laps in him with 54 seconds remaining. When the checker comes out, it is game over. Logan and Acosta at the top. Beckman, P3, Fowler, Musial, DL, Cagnazzi, Burrows, Marston and Mascaro are your top 10. Sebastian Mascaro will be disappointed not to be further up. He was hoping to have got rid of the issues yesterday. John Horsch goes into P10. So yeah, Mascaro might have to do another fight back from further. I mean, he's an expert after yesterday, so be ready for it. Cagnazzi you're looking at now.
But again, we have a very tight field if you watch top 14 drivers inside of 1 second. So
It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah, it's very, very tight.
Really good consistency from the drivers. And yeah, the top 10 even inside half a second. So could not be closer. One good lap and this could all change up at the top. Let's see if anybody's got it in them with 4 seconds remaining. Here comes Mascaro. He's heading up to the braking zone into turn 12 and is currently down in P11. He'd be keen to get further up than that. But unfortunately, checkered flag. Sorry, it wasn't Mascaro on the exit. It was he was on the exit of the final corner. Not coming up into 12. The two bits of banking look pretty similar. So he's in 11th place. Musial and McWilliams coming through as well. They are currently, Musial is 5th, McWilliams is 16th. So McWilliams has gone in. Okay. I think then everybody bailing towards the end of this session. They feel they've done their best and are looking to save their tyres. Horsch in as well. So Pirelli AM qualifying done from the looks of things.
Yeah, already with the Pirelli AM, we can start to see the difference. Best laps posted between laps 3 and 5. Most of the drivers.
As Hopkins, sorry, down over the line. Is this? It is Hopkins over the line. Anything from Hopkins? No. So up at the top of the table is Jay Logan. And Jay Logan, Ferrari of Austin, qualified 11th both times in Sonoma, 7th and 4th in Daytona, 4th and 4th in Miami, 7th yesterday, but pole position here today for Jay Logan. That's an absolutely brilliant performance by 0.033 of a second. And yes, the level of stoke is high down there in the pits, and not surprisingly so, improved all year long, and pole position at Indianapolis is a fantastic performance for our Pirelli AM driver, Jay Logan. Congratulations. He's very happy, isn't he, already? Great stuff. I love it. I love it. There's so many flags around Indianapolis. As you drive down the roads leading in it, everything is themed. Like, there are bars and shops and everything named after the 500 or the Speedway. And, yeah, it's great. Amanda Busek, who you saw down there just a moment ago, has lined up Jay Logan for us. Let's hear how happy he is.
Oh, I think you can see it on his face with that smile from Jay Logan. And I want to go back to yesterday. You qualified 7th. Now you're here on pole. How did your approach change from one day to the next?
I have to say big help to my coach and the team getting the car just right for me this time, and it helped to be in a good position to go out there and qualify well. So yeah, it was a good effort. It was a team effort.
When you look at the how the race ended yesterday in this class, what are your expectations during the race, Jay?
Very, very good racing. Very tight racing. All the guys know what they're doing. It's really fun to race with these guys. Great group of guys.
All right, we'll see you in just a couple hours.
Great stuff from Logan. Very happy and looking forward to the race later on today, as are we. We've got one qualifying session left to come, but it is the super quick guys of Trofeo Pirelli. Trofeo Pirelli AM putting on a brilliant show with so many drivers within, I think it was 1.5 seconds. And here are their results from their qualifying session for race number 8, weekend number 4. Jay Logan with the pole, 124.4. Ray Acosta, Esteban Beckman, yesterday's pole man on the inside of row 2. Brad Falver, Dave Musial, Matthew DL, Christopher Cagnazzi and Martin Burrows. Brilliant racing from a lot of those drivers yesterday. Eric Marston, John Horsch, Sebastian Mascaro, P11 will need another fight back today. Venceslas Hopkins, Ophir Levy also had a great run yesterday to fight through the field. So don't count those guys out. They may just have had little niggling problems, and we'll put on a show for us later on today. There he is, Ray. Nice one. And that's just one of the family. Look there. That's a future racing driver, surely. Brilliant, with the cans on already. I can assure you they're probably to protect the hearing. I don't think he's working on strategy for the team, but you just never know. You just never know. Look at that. Now that's a rig. Look at that. Stunning. I drove past this morning, past all the haulers, and it's so cool. Yeah, being European, we have trucks. We call them lorries in the UK. We don't have haulers. You guys over here have much better trucks than us. Do you agree, Tony?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Why don't you get a good one for the kart team in Finland? A big one.
We were actually talking about it yesterday.
Yeah?
Maybe I should
American hauler.
Yeah, maybe I would send one over.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
There's one in the car park that I'm sure is Optimus Prime. Now, I don't know if there are any Transformers fans out there. I put it on my Instagram story, but I'm absolutely sure it's Optimus Prime hiding in plain sight here in the paddock in Indianapolis. If you've no idea what I'm talking about, you'll have to Google Transformers, which is a 1980s cartoon, I think. But yeah, it's definitely him, 100%. It's my favourite one. Okay, final qualifying session coming up. Let's get back to business, shall we? Down at the front there is Ethan McWilliams in the number 32. And we're looking forward to sending the cars out for this qualifying session. This is Trofeo Pirelli. Yesterday's poleman was Massimo Perina. It was his 5th pole of the year. He went on to convert it into a win, which is the 3rd time this year that he's gone pole to win. He did actually go pole to win for a 4th time back in Sonoma, but he was adjudged to have crossed the merge line early, and that's what Dylan Medler did yesterday. And was given a penalty for. So Medler, the results are still showing as provisional, but we understand was moved behind Kaminsky for the move where he crossed the line early on the start-finish straight. I saw him this morning. He didn't seem too upset about it. You know you've done it, and if you it went the other way earlier in the year. Perina had the penalty, Medler's had the penalty. You got to stay in your lane.
And yeah, it's something that you can really not change anymore. Then concentration for the next day. Dylan hopefully has found a little bit more pace today. Massimo Perina was really on his own, especially in the race, pulling with the big gap. But also Roberto Perina managing to hold that P2 and taking a few points away from Dylan Medler. So good family effort from Perina, both Perinas.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I've just had a text message from Mitchell Green. I love this. Hey Andy, it's Mitchell Green. After my pathetic performance yesterday, I flew down to camp, I spent the night with him, and then I left before the official drop-off. So he went down there, he did it, and he said, you know what he said as well, it wasn't fatigue for me yesterday. I can't use all the words he's used, but Mitchell, you're a legend. He said, I was being a moron. So Mitchell, honestly, what a great bloke. He's absolutely owned it. He said, I ride my bike 250 miles a week. He said, I've even got an exercise bike here. And this is what we say. Mitchell is one of those guys who's super serious, isn't he, about becoming a professional driver. And he'll be disappointed with yesterday. And I love that. Mitchell, thank you, mate, for the message. That's absolutely fantastic. His driver coach is Jamie Morrow, an old friend of mine. We used to work together as instructors back in the UK. So that's brilliant. I love a random text message. That's fantastic. Mitchell, get after it today. We're looking forward to a show. We're looking forward to a great race between you and Jan Bernier. So, but that's taking ownership as well, which is part of becoming a professional driver, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes teams do mistakes, sometimes drivers do mistakes, and the main thing is just to move forward. And in the end, it's not that big of a deal. And when you are around Mitchell Green, you can really feel the passion he has for racing, like you mentioned, and he takes his racing very seriously, wants to perform on the top level. Sends also sometimes messages to Roberto Amorosi, who is preparing the car and everything.
Really?
So
yeah.
We are on it this weekend. We go for it.
That's
so.
good though, isn't it? That's what we want to see.
Exactly.
That's what we want to see. I'm excited to see drivers moving up through the ladder into the different categories as well, and then taking on the next challenge of finding more of the lap time. So, yeah. Okay, one more message. He said, I tried to entertain. If you want some real entertainment, listen to the radio and the broadcast. I think probably, judging by the text messages, Mitchell,
better not.
That'll get us called up. That'll get us cancelled pretty quickly, mate. But yeah, great stuff. Right, here we go then. Coming round for our first flying laps out towards the wall. McWilliams comes down to the line. What's the time going to be? It is a 1:26.0. What was the time yesterday, Tony?
Yesterday, Massimo Perina posted 1:23.2, and that was the pole position.
Okay, cool. There we go. So they're all on their second lap, and yeah, there's some way off their ultimate pace, aren't they? It's 28 for Roberto Perina, at 29 for Massimo Perina, and McWilliams at 26.0. So McWilliams' second lap was pretty quick. It seems to me the others have waited one more warm-up lap for then a full push.
The thing is, when we mentioned that building up the tire temps, all the pressures, and you post a lap time which is 3 to 4 seconds slower than your actual and the real pace is, his driver feels it straight away. Going into turn 1, the car is sliding more in at the braking zone. The front is sliding more at the turn-in, so you know straight away that there's no point to try too much on this lap. So that's why you keep running on track, you increase the tire pressure, You keep running those tires, and then the next lap is the one to try. You start the lap. If there's a feeling that the tires are not ready yet, then you wait again.
Yeah.
You cannot force the issue too soon. You end up just damaging the tire, and then the grip is not even there. Then you miss the peak of the performance when the tire should be ready.
It's quite a mad feeling switching a tyre on, isn't it? And of course, most people who drive road cars, as a general rule, okay, if you live somewhere really cold, you may have summer and winter compounds, but most of the world runs a standard compound, which is designed to do thousands of miles, and your tyre doesn't switch on in your road car. You drive a race car and it's super soft. Pirelli quickest 123.6. Look, how's that compared to yesterday?
Still 4 tenths slower, but shows that on lap 2.
It's switched on, and
yes.
That's the thing, isn't it? It comes on, and then of course this feeling of when the tyres go off again. It's really hard to explain, I think.
Yeah, very hard braking into turn 1. You can see that Massimo's car is moving around. Here we are riding together with Dylan Medler, who is about to close his lap. This is from Dylan. This is a first flying lap. He was the slowest on building the temperature, building the pressures. So if others were posting 126, 128, Dylan's first lap was 130. So let's see on his first real flyer.
Medler to the wall and down towards the line of bricks. Where is he going to end up as he crosses the line? Into P2, a tenth of a second, a tenth and a half behind Massimo Perina. Favre up to P5, Roberto Perina down to P6, but as you can see, there's just 0.6 of a second across the top 6. So Medler and co, these guys will know that realistically, Tony, so they've taken between 2 and 3 laps to warm them up. They've probably got between 2 and 3 laps to nail a lap, and then it's over.
Yeah, when you post your best time at the time, then you just need to keep going. You see the predicted on the steering wheel, and you just keep concentrated, do the same things as the previous lap. And if there is more performance on the tire, you just try to close the lap best way possible. If you start sliding, then you don't have a real chance to improve anymore, and that's up to the feeling of the driver.
Kaminsky looking good through the chicane at the back as you look at Dave Musial Jr., who is only a few tenths off the back of Kaminsky at the moment, but Kaminsky, I think, has done what he did yesterday and just gone out ever so slightly later than the other drivers. He's still showing us on lap 3, where the other top drivers on lap 4. Perina quicker, yes, 123.2.
Yeah, matches the lap time from yesterday.
There we go.
Leading by half a second now to Dylan. This is a second lap now from Dylan Medler, coming out of the last turn.
So Medler, can he get any closer? He was a tenth back last time, but Perina has gone another 0.3 quicker, comes over the line. And no, he doesn't improve his lap time. Here comes Kaminsky this time. So Kaminsky, who is currently down in P8, hasn't done a proper push lap over the line. And he goes P2. Kaminsky just 0.165 back. And I think that's his first proper push lap. So Kaminsky could be a danger here to the other drivers really late in the session. He's probably got one more lap later than they have with the ultimate grip in those Pirellis.
Yeah, very impressive lap time from this young driver. Great performance. Only a tenth and a half behind Perina's pole lap now. And we've seen already from Johnny some great racing. One mistake in Miami, running into Dylan Medler's car, but on the other races, great performance in qualifying. Also great, clean racing. Those mistakes are part of the learning curve and experience as well. It was in a braking zone in the end of a long straight line, and if you hit that brake pedal just a fraction too late, you cannot really escape anymore. So so far this driver has really impressed me during the season.
Has he lifted, I think, on this lap?
Yeah, I think so.
So either Kaminsky has decided that it's one and done in terms of a push lap. Now he's back on it. So I think, let's see, but we think he's lifted here, and maybe it was for traffic, maybe not. Is he going to let the driver behind go? If he doesn't, then he's going back on the push. Yeah, he is. It's McCarthy behind him. So yeah. So now Kaminsky then has it. We'll find out as he crosses the line. We think he's rolled off for a lap and then back on. So it's sort of lap on, lap off. Let's see as he crosses over the line. Yeah, 126, so 3 seconds slower. So he really rolled off at the end of the lap, and now Kaminsky's going for another attempt at the pole. Medler has gone up to P2, just a tenth of a second back, and McCarthy has outbraked himself following Kaminsky into turn 1. Kaminsky with more rotation on the trail braking, and McCarthy just going a bit straight.
Yeah, I was just about to say that now McCarthy has a great place to follow Kaminsky, get the slipstream, and follow him through the infield, but he already overshot it into turn 1.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? You get sucked into the turn in front with what the driver in front of you is doing. So Kaminsky and Roberto Perina Medler, yeah, how far is he? Still a 10th back, but in P2. Roberto Perina yesterday was, where was he yesterday? He qualified 3rd. So yeah, so at the minute, the 2 rows are as they were yesterday. Perina and Medler on the front row, Kaminsky and Perina on row 2. But Kaminsky is on a push lap now. So can freaky fast Johnny Kaminsky get it done here in this attempt out towards the wall? So you've got to just balance the car right here as the weight transfers across. Is he still pushing or not? Because he may have bailed on the lap anyway. I think he is, looking at the attitude as it comes through the right-hander. But now he rolls off into the pits. So he's seen something on the dash then, Tony, and just said, the lap time's not there, I'll save the rubber.
Yeah, he posted a very good lap time. After that, the next 2 attempts just didn't work out. He tried hard, but you can see and feel it inside the race car that this performance is not enough.
Good maturity for a 16-year-old to recognise that and go, there's no point in wasting more of the rubber, let's take it in. Nice slide on the exit there for McWilliams in the 32. Currently sitting P6, he's only 200ths off. Tony Davis hasn't set a lap time, yeah. Over the line. I don't think it's an improvement for McWilliams. 120, no, it isn't a 128.1. So McWilliams is either having a... Oh, was it last lap he made the mistake in turn 1 behind Kaminsky? It might have been. Or was that the lap before? I can't remember. Certainly trying... No, or was it McCarthy? McCarthy, yes. McCarthy, McWilliams, you know. Well, there's only a minute 23 remaining, but I think all of the major players are in now. Medler did his best lap on lap 5. Perina Massimo, who's on the pole, did 7 laps. Roberto Perina did 7. Kaminsky and Medler only 5 each. And Medler, I think, now showing us pit in. So if Massimo Perina holds on for this, the last minute of this session, it's been a very good year so far. It will be his 6th pole in 8 races. So he's only missed the pole twice, and I say he's converted it 4 out of the 5 times so far, although one of those was taken away with a penalty. So 6 poles from 8, that's a 75% pole position rate. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Impressive and great driving. Demonstration of how you control your nerves, you know how to set the fast lap time, you have the right confidence, and also the fact that you perform in such a high level in different racetracks shows that you are a quite complete racing driver.
Yeah, got to get the job done again later on today, and we are looking forward to seeing if he can. 9 seconds remaining, but as you can see, Perina is into the pits in the number 27, and I'm guessing that most of the field will follow him. The checker is unfurled right opposite us here at the famous pagoda at IMS. Look at that. Look at the pylon in the background. You guys can't see it. We can. There's a checker flag on the pylon. Wow. Yeah, there. Look at that. See, look how cool it is. They do a green one of that for the start as well. Brilliant. But it does look good in Ferrari red as well, it has to be said. But I think everyone will roll in now. It's McCarthy still out. Is he on a push? I don't think so. What do you think, Tony? Come on, let's have a wager. No? There we go. Tony says no. Pit lane switches off the engine, and Perina can climb out. He's pretty calm about these things. I mean, 6 out of 8 is an incredible record, but as a general rule, I think you were saying he's a fairly complete racing driver, and he knows it's half the job.
Yeah, I like the way he talks to media. I like the way he has the confidence and very competitive nature, great driving skills. He promoted himself from 488 challenge car from last year, dominating the championship, and we always said that let's see this young driver with the 296 challenge car, and this is the demonstration. There's also his driver coach Daniel Mancinelli explaining and going through what happened in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We talked earlier as well about teammates being there. Jan Bernier was in the background from Ferrari of Seattle as well, applauding. That's the golf course, and it's. I was reading up yesterday in the museum. I've done quite a few museum facts on air this year, but it used to be 9 holes inside and 9 holes out. It's now 4 holes inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the other 14 are on the outside of it. And I just think it's what a cool place to play golf. If I was going to play golf, I'd play golf here.
Yeah, but the whole surroundings here in the speedway is just amazing, and the size of this place is incredible, and the quality, how clean everything is, well
Oh, it's
prepared.
brilliant.
It's very, very impressive.
The staff are super friendly and they love it. That's one of the things I noticed. Down to the catering staff, they're like, I love Indianapolis.
And they are proud what they do.
Yeah, they love the 500. They love the venue. Massimo Perina is with Amanda Busick. It is his 6th pole from 8 races.
Massimo Perina has been on pole at 75% of the races this season, and transferring over from that 488 championship. How have you made the transition into the 296 look so seamless?
Well, I think it's just been a lot of practice. I mean, the nice thing is that being with Ferrari Seattle and Scuderia in 1999 is we're a collective. We are a team. So every single chance we get, we mesh our minds together, all of our data, and it's just it allows us to get faster together.
We have moved up racing today to hopefully make adjustments for the weather that could hit us this afternoon. You told us at the end of the race yesterday that your tires were absolutely shot. Will you have to accommodate for that today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this track is very high deg, so we have to accommodate that no matter what. But we'll see if the rain decides to interrupt us a little bit.
All right, guys, in just a few hours, it'll be time for race number 2 here in Indianapolis.
It will indeed. We're very much looking forward to that. Brilliant performance by Perina to take the pole here again for his Ferrari Seattle squad. Look at that, over the curbs, just beautifully judged. Fantastic performance by him. Can he do the double and convert it again for another win in Ferrari Challenge North America? Here are the results for you of Trofeo Pirelli qualifying. Massimo Perina with the pole again, 123.2 from his championship rival Dylan Medler. Johnny Kaminsky right there as well. He's in that championship fight too. He's in P3. Perina Roberto, who was second yesterday. Then Dave Musial Jr., Ethan McWilliams, Jason McCarthy, and Gray Falvert down in P8. No time for Tony Davis. Remains to be seen whether we'll see him later on today. We hope we will see you guys later on today as well. My thanks to Amanda Busick down in pit lane. And what time are we back later on? I'm trying to remember. We've moved the schedule forward a bit. 12:25 we're hearing. 12:25 we're going to be back for the pre-race show, and 12:40, that's 40 Eastern time, will be the race, and that's that schedule has just been live updated for you. So yeah, make sure you join us later on today. I'm Andrew Coley. Thanks to Tony Verlander, Amanda Busick, and the whole TV team and the organising squad here in IMS. See you later.